Good morning. This is a short lesson on Sun Salutation A, otherwise known as Surya Namaskar A. And sun salutations were traditionally practiced in the morning as a way to light up the body, to let energy flow, to heat up the system, and also to salute the sun that was coming up, a practice of gratitude. Sun salutations consist of 11 to 12 poses that are done in sequence and to the rhythm of your breath. So each pose either has an inhale or an exhale very purposely, and we do these in many of our yoga classes that we take, whether it's Ashtanga or Vinyasa or Power Flow. They tend to show up either at the beginning of class or are referred to as a vinyasa, so they're done between some longer holds in class. I'd like to break down each pose for you and also encourage you to think of Sun A's as a practice you can take anytime. So though traditionally practiced in the morning, I've definitely found in my experience that doing 10 Sun Salutation A's when I'm feeling stuck or I just need to move and I'm not sure how I want to move, you just get into the rhythm of your breath and that repetitive movement, and all of a sudden things shift. So I would encourage you to take your Sun A outside of a traditional practice, pick it up throughout the day when you need a burst of energy or to move and shift something, and see how it goes. So let's begin in Ragdoll Forward Fold. We're going to warm up the spine just a little bit before we start to break down our Surya Namaskar A. So you'll come to your mat, separate the feet wide, bend the knees a lot, and hinge at the hips. This is Ragdoll Forward Fold, otherwise known as Uttanasana. Head drops, it's heavy, shoulders follow, and then the spine can release. That entire stretch from the passive lengthening from the lower back, middle back, upper back. Press the feet down, move them around a little bit, just feel them underneath you. All right, take a full breath in, open the back body. Full breath out, head heavy. You'll take a couple more breaths like that, either breathing in and out, in through the nose, out through the mouth, or if you can, you close the lips gently and try Ujjayi breath. It's known as victory breath. You draw the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Another way of heating up the body by heating the breath. In this forward fold, let's take one more breath in, feeling the back body broaden, the seat lifting. And exhale, hinging, hands come down to the earth, tabletop all fours, hands and knees on the mat. And let's take a cow pose where we drop the belly and we lift the chest forward. And then round into cat, so the belly draws in, the head drops, spine rounds. Let's do that again. Inhale. And then exhale. One more round, inhaling, and then rounding the spine deeply, shoulders pulling towards the ceiling. Keep this rounded shape, head dropping, tuck all 10 toes under, and we'll press up into downward facing dog. So you'll lengthen the legs, but only so much so that you can keep the spine long. So generally, most of us need to bend in the knees to keep this inverted V shape, to allow the spine to lengthen. When we try to really straighten the legs, many of us begin to round and we lose that line from the tail through the neck. Full breath in, full breath out. In your down dog, feel the hands actively press the earth away, almost like they could press the mat forward or the earth forward in front of you. Full inhale, full breath out. And before we begin to break down our Sun A, let's just walk our dog out. Bend one knee, straighten the opposite leg, and then take it to the other side. Breath in, breath out. Come back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees a lot, pull your seat back. Let's walk forward front of the mat. Once we arrive top of the mat, we'll drop the head, tuck the chin, come all the way to standing. Standing tall, this is mountain pose Tadasana. Full breath in, full breath out. And this is where traditional sun salutation begins. Tadasana, mountain pose. You can also take your hands to heart center, which is known as Anjali Mudra, prayer position. But standing tall, the tail drops, the pelvis tucks under so we can stand as tall as possible, igniting the thighs, pressing down through the feet. So mountain pose, standing tall, full breath in, full breath out. The next pose in Sun A is sweeping the arms wide and high. This is Urdhva Hastasana. Arms reach towards the sky. Same foundation as Tadasana with the legs strong, rooting through the heels. You take a full breath in, you might gaze up. The next place we go is a hinging forward fold. So we swan dive, arms wide. You can also take hands through heart center, Anjali Mudra. But you pull the thighs back, you engage the core as you exhale and drop your head. You're in a forward fold. Head is heavy, you finish the breath out. And we're slowing it down, so we'll have a couple rounds of breath. But then we'll pair breath to each pose in this Sun A. So the next one is an inhale with the big toes touching, slight space between the heels. And this is a half back or half fold, known as Ardha Uttanasana, half fold. So the heels are rooting, the legs are straightening as much as they can without rounding the spine. And this hips draw back, but the heart is drawing forward. That's how the spine lengthens. Full breath in, so hands are on the shins or they're on the earth, but you're prioritizing length in the spine. Big breath in. And then the next place we go is hands to the mat, lining up fingertips with your toes so you can step back to high plank. And high plank sets us up for Chaturanga Dandasana, but I'm going to show a couple of versions. So first, high plank, with the arms actively pressing the earth away. You're tucking, just as we did in Tadasana standing. It's like we're standing on 2 feet, heels rooting back, dropping the tail, tucking the pelvis under to ignite the core and to get nice and long. The other option is to drop your knees and have your high plank with knees supported. From high plank with the knees lifted, the next place we go is shift forward onto the toes and the press through the balls of the feet. And then we bend the elbows for low plank and pull the elbows back. And we hover here. And then we find a back bend. This is Urdhva Mukha, upward facing dog. And that is, I'll take a breath here and I'll show you. A deep back bend. So the legs ignite because we press down through the tops of the feet. The heels turn in towards each other, igniting the legs even more. The chest is reaching for whatever is in front of it. The heels of the palms press the earth away. Shoulder blades come together, so there's a back bend. Full breath in, full breath out. So take a break there. That's after we complete Chaturanga, and then it's upward facing dog. The other option at this point of Sun A, and I highly recommend it, because many of us, even whether we've practiced for a long time or we're just beginning, this is a challenging practice, and when we slow it down and really feel everything that's going on, we get the full benefit and the purpose of the poses. So it's always beneficial to break it down, to come back or try a different way of setting it up. For example, high plank, we drop the knees, would shift forward, would still bend the elbows, wrap the triceps back for low plank and hover. You want to find that spot where you're not dipping forward, but you're still lifting. And then you drop all the way down to the earth for another modification. In place of upward facing dog, Baby Bhujangasana, it's baby cobra. You'd press the hands down under the shoulders, you'd peel the chest up, pressing down through all 10 toes. Just like upward facing dog, the heels draw towards each other. And we can feel the pinky toes, the big toes, everything pressing down, the heart shooting forward, full breath in, and release it. Rest on your mat. And if you take this version with baby cobra, you'd press up likely to tabletop to prepare for where we go next. If we're coming from upward facing dog, we'd stay here and we go right into downward facing dog as the next pose in the sequence. So you tuck your toes under and you want to lift up towards the sky. Lift up, maximize that, and then come back. Rolling over the toes, heels dropping, backs of the legs lengthening. Full breath in, full breath out. And then from downward facing dog, we usually pause in Sun A a few more breaths in down dog, as many as we need. And then we close the loop of our Sun A by bending the knees, pulling the seat back, walking to the front of the mat. Big toes touch, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back, and then exhale, forward fold. We press the feet down to come all the way to standing, Tadasana, and then arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, and then finally hands to heart center, pressing through the heels. Big breath in, big breath out. And that's our Sun A. So let's do it again. I'll do one version with knees down and into baby cobra, and then I'll do one version, knees up, high plank into upward facing dog, but I'll move to breath. So every pose in the sequence has a breath that goes with it, either an inhale and exhale. So lengthen the breath as you need it, or stay in a pose till you can catch another full cycle. But let's flow. So beginning again, press down through the feet. We start in Tadasana, and then on an inhale, we sweep the arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find length. Exhale, hands to the mat. This will be the high plank version. Lowering the low plank, upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha. And then downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. Breath in, breath out. Take one more breath in before I finish this Sun A, bending the knees, looking forward, front of the mat. Length and fold. I'll sweep all the way to standing. And then I'll complete it, mountain pose, hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Breath in, breath out. All right, let's do the version with the modifications. We'll sweep the arms overhead, and we'll dive forward. Breath in, hands to the mat, step it back high. I'll drop the knees. I'll shift forward for low plank, elbows back. I'll come all the way down to the mat. For baby cobra, press the tops of the feet, the hands down, chest lifts. And then I'll press up to tabletop. And then tuck the toes up and back, downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Bend the knees, walk forward. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Press the feet down, ignite the thighs, come to standing, Urdhva Hastasana, arms lifting. And then hands to heart center, exhale. Arms by our sides, Tadasana, full breath in. And let it go. So you have a couple of options in your Sun A. I hope you'll continue to practice your Sun A's and take them when you need them, again, to reset energy. Turn on some music or simply move to the sound of your breath, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you soon.